I am particularly speaking to white women. We need to be bigger bitches. I had a whole script written to record today, and I wrote it last week before Renee Nicole Good was murdered by ICE. And I'm not going to do that today. Today I'm going to preach at you a little bit, and if you are a non-white person, you're going to already know all of this. I am particularly speaking to white women for the next however long I'm speaking for in this episode. We need to be bigger bitches. And I want to explain to you exactly what I mean by that. I posted on TikTok a video saying if they're going to murder us while calling us fucking bitches, then we need to be bigger fucking bitches. And I mean that. I mean that with my whole entire chest. But most white women will jump at the idea of being mean without being tactical, without thinking of how effectively to yield their Karen powers for good rather than for whiteness. The main comment I'm getting is about the Second Amendment and arming yourself. And I want to be very real. I don't think a lot of white women have the guts to do that. I am also not advocating for anyone to do that. I think there are things that you can do right now without leaving your home that are impactful, even if they don't seem like they are. One of the first things is starting your deconstruction journey around whiteness and realizing that grief you're feeling, the anger you're feeling, the frustration and the rage that you're feeling right now, Black and brown people, Indigenous people, immigrants have been going through that. Black women especially have been feeling that grief since this country was taken over by colonists. We cannot expect them to be in this fight with us. After centuries of us and people that look like us not giving a fuck that this is how they felt. Generation after generation after generation. We cannot ask them to help us. And the most interesting thing is the Black women that I follow on social media, they are standing with us and they are standing up for us and they do feel the grief for us and with us. And we don't fucking deserve it. We failed Black women in 2024. We failed them by not showing up, by not holding our friends and family accountable for showing up at the polls, for not voting, if not for the imperfect candidate, just to get the Nazis out of office. And that has to be good enough. We cannot fight what's not in our own house if our own house is on fire. We failed Black women. So for Black women to stand with us now as Renee Nicole Good is gone at the hands of an ICE agent who has no business being in Minnesota and rounding up people. For them to stand with us in this moment is incredible. And we still don't deserve it. I think the way that we can pay Black women back, we can start to rebuild the connections and the community with Black women, and we can start to build up that trust, is to hold ourselves and each other accountable for deconstructing and not uplifting our whiteness. We have never experienced what Black people have experienced in this country. We don't know how to organize in the same way. We don't know how to get through this effectively in the same way. Even though Black women have been telling us for decades on decades on decades. Didn't apply to us, so why should we listen? Well, we're here now. They told us we would get here. Along with deconstructing and not uplifting whiteness and making sure that we are putting intersectional feminism at the core of our actions and our reason for doing what we're doing. We need to truly listen and follow Black women and make sure that we're uplifting them as much as we can. And if Black women decide they want to sit this one out and let us figure it out, then we need to let them. And all of the feelings that we have about that need to go in our journal and not in their comment section. Not in their DMs, not in their emails. I think we can be bigger bitches by being louder, but in the face of small men, in the face of MAGA women who think that patriarchy is going to save them, and it won't. We know that. It's time for white women to stop putting whiteness first and start putting our womanhood first. That includes all women. I think we can be a bigger bitch to people who aren't voting or who encourage other people not to vote. Or when people say we're cooked, voting's never going to happen again. Everything is, we're in a dictatorship now. We can't do anything. If you have that mindset or you know someone who has that mindset, they have complied in advance and they are laying on the floor giving up. And if you want to lay on the floor and give up, great. Shut up about it. You care about future generations, you care about the people around you, and you should. Then you're going to challenge that mindset in other people. You're going to challenge that mindset in yourself because it's not over. We're not cooked. Things aren't beyond repair. And we can fight all day about how we get there. The left loves to eat each other apart and rip into each other about how we get there. But if you sit down and actually have a conversation, we all want the same things. We all want women to be safe. We all want trans women to be safe. We all want to see racism obliterated. We all want to see those fucking pedophiles in the Epstein files gone. We all want to see these old ass geezers out of office and replaced with progressive candidates who actually give a fuck about us and not their fucking stock portfolios. Voting is important. You have to register to vote. You have to look up your registration and make sure you're registered to vote every year. Every year. Your local elections are just as important as the presidential elections. There are resources in the show notes so that you can look up your voter registration, you can make sure you're registered to vote, and you can find out what your candidates stand for. And we can be bigger bitches by ensuring that if people are in our circle, they are registered to vote and they are doing it. Because our lives and our sisters' lives fucking depend on it. But voting is not enough. You can't just say, I voted, I did my part. That is not enough. I encourage you, if you're feeling rage, sadness, despair, find a way to look inside of you and say, what can I do? What do I have the energy, the physical capability, the mental capacity to do? And be honest. Don't say you're overwhelmed and you can't do anything and that this is not worth fighting for because you're too tired. We're all fucking tired. Take an inventory of what you can do. Do your research on what is needed to be done locally in your community. Volunteer for your progressive candidates who are running. Volunteer at your local library. Find your local Democratic Socialist or progressive parties or your local protest and go. If you're unable to do that, you've got some extra dollars lying in your pockets, find some GoFundMes of people who are struggling and donate to them. Join Black women's Patreons. Join the Patreons of people who are doing this work. Leave your MAGA husband. Refuse to talk to your MAGA friends. If you have done all you can to convince your family and friends that they're on the wrong side of history and they don't give a fuck because most of them don't, remove their access to you. Make them uncomfortable. Let them know they are the modern day Nazis. We don't get to not sacrifice something. That's not how this works. For some of us, it's going to be our lives. For some of us, it's going to be our safety. For some of us, it'll be our money. The risk of that sacrifice not being made and falling deeper and deeper into fascism is not worth not making the sacrifice for. If you're listening from another country, I beg you, ask Americans what you can do to help them. Not generally, not broadly. Ask the Americans that you know what you can do specifically to help. And do that thing if you can. A lot of Europeans are asking if Americans know the impacts that America has globally. And it's really insulting, honestly. For a lot of reasons. Because the questions that you should be asking are, how do we help the Americans so they can help us when we need it? Because imagine if you're an American in the 1930s and 40s, and you ask a German, do you guys know the impact you're having on the world? There are multiple genocides happening in the United States right now, both a trans one and a black and brown one. There are concentration camps all over the country. People are being deported to countries they've never even been to. American citizens, not that it should matter, are being detained and deported. Veterans of this country are being deported. Don't ask us if we don't know, or if we know, or if we care. Don't ask us if we know what's going on in the world. Ask your politicians if they know. Y'all can be bitches too. In fact, if you're in the UK, you have so many more protections to harass your politicians. So go do it. I am rage is not, at the time of filming this, Jonathan Ross, the murderer of Renee Nicole Good, has a GoFundMe with over $130,000 raised. And for those of you who don't know, I have been out of work for almost 3 years and underemployed for most of that. And by the grace of my Twitch community, have been able to afford to barely get by. But it's every month I'm wondering, where's my rent gonna come from? And to see this man, to see the money roll in on a Nazi who called that woman a fucking bitch, just blocks away from where they murdered George Floyd in Minneapolis. We have to do better than black squares and blue bracelets. And for the 800 something white women who commented on my TikTok video who said, hell yeah, I'm ready to be a bigger bitch. This is how. Harass your politicians, harass your MAGA family members. Do not let them feel safe. They have gotten away with it for too long. Listen to black and brown people. Listen to trans people. Listen to the leaders who have been speaking on this for decades. Volunteer. Show up for protests. Register to vote. And make sure everyone around you is doing the same and showing up. Do you know that more people did not vote than voted for this man? And I don't care what your opinion on Harris is. This would not be happening if we exercised our right to vote. That's a group project. That takes community. That means you're holding your people accountable for doing it. If you got to drive to their fucking house and pick them up and take them to the polls, then you go to their fucking house and you take them to the fucking polls. It is a group project and we are failing it. I'm going to wrap this up, but a lot of you asked for a t-shirt. with the sound from my viral TikTok. And I made it. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Half of the profits go to Trans Lifeline. I need to pay my rent, but I also need to find a way to be ethical about it. And so that's the charity that I picked. Listen to this episode as long as you need to. Put it on repeat if you need some pep talks. Send it to your friends who need someone in their ear to tell them to get their shit together. Because collectively we do. We'll be back next week for a regular episode. Take care of each other.